Well, good morning. This is my first live that I've um, done. So, we're going to be talking today about fall, the fall garden, because here in the Northeast where I'm from, it's time. Well, I mean, we just got our main garden in, and now we're talking about fall. Seems to be the life of a gardener, right? Um, so I figured that the live, if I do one regularly, could be an overview of what I've done for the week. I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but um, we'll talk about what we did this week. We, again, have been uh, doing a little bit of a harvest. We harvested a couple of rounds of potatoes. I planted 4 buckets, pots, larger pots, about 4, 2.5 gallon, something like that. They weren't quite 5 gallon um, pots. And I plant probably about 4 potatoes each, maybe 5, depending on how I divide it out. And I got about a pound each pot, which I think is a win, especially since I don't buy a seed potato. I find the only benefit to that is that, they're certified at, if you're buying them like that, that they're supposed to be disease free, but I don't know if that really is the case. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. So you're paying for that certification. But my parents buy seed potatoes, and when I was younger and gardening with them, and they would have disease. So I'm not saying don't do that. If you're comfortable doing that, then do that. But I tend to come around March. We eat more potatoes in the winter than we do in the summer because we try to eat from the garden. And potatoes a store. You know, so I don't really hurry up and eat those because I can store those longer than the fresh eating stuff. Like a tomato is gonna spoil a lot quicker than a potato would. So um, we tend to, hey everybody, hey, welcome to the greenhouse. Um, we're talking about fall gardening and a little bit of an view of what we've done this week, and we're talking about harvesting potatoes, our new potatoes. So if you have any questions, just let me know. We've done that, and we've done a little bit of a herb harvest. We harvested some oregano and some parsley and mint for the chickens because I hadn't, and this is what it's looking like so far. I'm just drying it in the greenhouse, and I think it's working out pretty good. So this will just be something that I add to the chicken feed. Um, because it was starting to bolt, and because we had such a crazy spring. I don't know. Have you guys had crazy springs? Seems like everybody here in the United States has had a really rainy or cold. My garden seems like it's at least 2 weeks behind what it normally would be. I'm not sure. I've even had friends on other YouTube channels saying that they could be a month behind. That's crazy. If we were a month behind here, um, we would get anything because the frost comes so quick. So anyway, so we've done that. I had a mishap in the greenhouse. Had a couple of leaks in the roof because we'd had 4. Hey Annabelle, how are you doing? Um, a hailstorm, but that was several years ago, and it hadn't really bothered me growing in the greenhouse at all. But this year, with the excessive amount of rain that we had, I was keeping a few seeds in the greenhouse, so they got wet. I had them in a tote. Oh, good. I'm glad you're doing well. And so I've just been trying to plant that stuff out, because if I throw it out, I'm not going to get anything in. I have had a little bit of success, mostly failure, but like I said, if you don't plant it, you're not going to get anything anyway. I did salvage some. Great, I'm glad you subscribed. Welcome to the community. What are you growing? Are you do you garden, or you just watch content? Because I used to do that too. I just like watching content. And I did have let's see, corn package that got wet, and squash. That was a few weeks ago. I showed that on the garden tour, and most of the stuff failed in actually surviving in the garden, except for one of the squashes and maybe 3 or so stalks of the corn. But like I said, I wouldn't have gotten anything if I just thrown it out. So we also talked about in a couple of videos the strawberries that I grow from store-bought strawberries and I just take the tops of the strawberries as I cut them off for our eating. You help your mom grow? Nice. What are you guys growing? So because when you cut the top off, there's all kinds of the little seeds that you can still see. So I, just for fun, last year thought, well, I want to see if I can actually grow those seeds. And these are the, this is what they look like this year. They sprouted last June, and I did another round of that with you guys on a video. And this is what they're looking like. So come this time last year, they were about this size, and that's, I know you guys can't see this well, but that's a strawberry, because you can tell it has the 3 points on the leaves. That's a strawberry. So they don't get super huge, and then I have to overwinter them. I did some outside, and most of those died. I think these ones are all that stuff that I overwintered in my grow room in the basement. So I didn't get any flowers on them this year, unfortunately. But I think I was reading that you don't get flowers. They just grow that first growing season and get established. So I'm hoping that next year is when I'll get the fruit. So we'll see. Stay tuned. We'll check it out. Food and flowers. Me too. I was, one of those gardeners that thought that I had to just grow food, because I grow on such a small scale. I only have in one of my last video the other day, I measured out how much growing space I actually have. I have 2 in-ground beds that are roughly 4 by 20. So, and then I do have some patio space where I grow some pots and stuff like that. So I rounded it up to about 130 square feet of growing space. So that's not a ton, but I did look up what average family needs to have for growing space, and of course AI says that anywhere between 100 and 200 would certainly be enough growing space for a family. And I think that they're basing it on a family of 4, which that's average. That's all they need for fresh eating. And I agree with that, because I only had the 1 garden bed last year. This year Well, I started off with the bed over there, but I didn't really utilize it a lot because it was in the middle of the growing season. This year I am using it a lot more. So I only really had the one, and I still even had enough produce coming out of there that I preserved some stuff. I mean, obviously it wasn't enough that I could get through winter or anything like that, but I had enough that I could can a few pints of, spaghetti sauce or something like that. Same, my mom thought so too. Yeah, and I've recently gotten into the flower part of growing because vegetables love flowers, right? That's the Mason Ziegler, Lisa Mason Ziegler's book. I don't know if you guys watch her channel at all or follow her at all, but she talks about a vegetable garden, and you need to have the flowers to bring in the pollinators. So I had some trouble with squash and cucumbers, and I attributed it to that. I didn't have enough flowers in the yard to keep the pollinators coming. And it's not just the bees. There's all kinds of pollinators, even not just bees. That's a cute emoji. So I'm not sure what else you guys want to talk about. Like I said, this is my first live, so I don't even know how to do this. I hope I'm doing it okay. And today I was trimming up the tomato plants. I don't know what else I'm going to do. We're kind of at that point in the garden where it's a little bit of a lull. I do have some projects, but they're not like rushing and getting stuff in. Right now we're in the middle of July. Everything's looking dry. It's sad. So it was looking sad before because we had an excessive amount of rain, and now we don't have any rain and everything's dry. So such is life, I guess, of a gardener. So I'm planning on pruning up my tomatoes, staking them up because I hadn't had a chance to stake them. And I do have some okra. That was another packet that had gotten wet. That germinated really good, and though a lot of the seeds were moldy. So now I got to find space for okra, and I don't know if I have enough time to even get a harvest. But that's a plant that I would, I bet you, Annabelle, and your mom would love that. Even if you don't eat okra, the flowers are super pretty because they're part of the hibiscus family, the marshmallow family. So they look like a hibiscus flower. They're so pretty. I keep them around just for that, even if I don't eat a ton of okra, because I'm a northerner and we don't know how to eat okra. It's not something that's common for us, but I do love the flowers. They're very pretty. And thinking maybe mowing. I did get my farm stand out by the end of the driveway this morning. I don't have a lot. I'm waiting for that produce to come in. My zucchini and my cucumbers are literally like this big. So one good rainstorm though, and then they're going to be this big. So I'm waiting on that rain shower to come and they'll explode, but we haven't had one. I had one a few days ago, but they weren't set on yet. So I know the produce is coming, and I'm anxiously waiting. But and then I'll be like, okay, I'm done with the produce. But that's, again, it's either feast or famine when you're gardening. I'm telling you right now. So anyway, do you have any questions? I put the chickens out in the tractor. Oh, this is very interesting. I put the chickens out in the tractor this morning, and I had 4 hawks literally over my yard circling and screeching. We didn't have hawks in our neighborhood until last year, and we had one two maybe, but we have a ton. I mean, I'm hoping they're getting all of the mice and the squirrels and those sorts of things, but I'm so glad that I have a cover over the tractor because, well, technically we're not supposed to let the chickens free range, and because I live in a suburb, and we're allowed to have chickens but no roosters, and you cannot free range, and your chicken run has to have a cover. So we do have a tractor that does have a cover, and I'm thankful for that. I thought that I really wanted to have my chickens, you know, have run of the yard, but now with those hawks, pretty positive that I'm not going to let them do that, because they would have been hawk food for sure this morning, especially my little white one, my little leghorn. She's so cute. Do any of you have chickens? I'm new to chicken keeping this year. I have had friends or, you know, relatives that had chickens, so I'm not new to being around chickens. So I'm comfortable in that aspect, but I don't know how to keep a chicken because I never have kept them myself. So that's been fun. We got them in March, the end of March. So they should be, in my calculations, they should be laying something here pretty soon, especially the leghorn, because I was doing some research and I think that she's going to be my first egg layer. No space for animals. I'm pretty tight too, Annabelle. Honestly, I have just a 1/4 acre. You've had them most of your life, chickens? That's awesome. Well, give me all the advice that you can. I'm sorry, I have son. Is it DD? You can give me all the advice because I know nothing other than I can be around them and comfortable. I'm not scared of them, but I don't know how to keep them. 2 dogs. Yeah, I have a dog. He right now he's out underneath the shed, the garden dog. We think that there's either mice, which I have been catching mice in the greenhouse pretty regularly, so that's probably another mouse nest. But it could be a chipmunk because we've seen plenty of them. They are over in the wood pile. So he's out, you know, making his rounds. Hopefully he catches something. I have promised him that he gets a steak if he gets something. And he's 4, and he has had literally this many steaks. So I'm confident in that I'm not going to have to buy him any steak for dinner. But I have told him if he does get one, then he definitely will get a reward. Apparently that's not enough motivation for him because he's not very good at being a mouser. I have gotten them in the traps. Had a rat in his mouth. Nice. You give that dog a steak, man. And I don't know what else I've got going on in the garden this week. I'm hoping that some of the early sunflowers I can start saving some of those seeds, because that's going to be something that I add into the chicken feed. And get supplies there. I do. We get our supplies mostly from Tractor Supply. That's because that's not too far from us. But we do use a family-owned farm store just at the end of our street. But they're small, so they don't have a ton. But I go there first, and if they don't have what I need or what I'm looking for, I do go to Tractor Supply. Or we order it online. That's another option too that we do. But yeah, we have farm supply stores here. Even though we're rural, we do have farm supply stores. So I'd like to add seeds and those sorts of things to their feed, to maybe help with the cost. Not that it's super expensive, but I would rather them, because they're pretty much eating really from the garden right now. I mean, I do give them some feed, but not as much as most, and they're eating a lot of fresh stuff. And they're used to that, and they like that. They actually prefer that. Yes, the local farm store. I don't find Tractor Supply super helpful. Not that they're not nice, don't get me wrong, but their employees don't seem to be as knowledgeable as the family-run farm store that's just at the end of our street. So yes, for sure, if you have questions, you definitely need to ask the experts, and they're generally the small mom and pop stores. They're the ones that are the most knowledgeable. Table scraps, yeah, that's what mine are eating. Not exclusively, but I mean the majority of their diet right now has been that. When they were super young, I gave them their chick feed, but since they've been outside at, I think it was too cold at 6 weeks, which I think is when you generally put them out. We may have waited until 7 or 8. Then we started, less and less of feed and more kitchen scraps, garden scraps, stuff like that. And like I said, they're not 100% on garden or kitchen, but it's definitely a higher portion, because that stuff's coming in and it's available, and so, and they love it. They love it. And I know that the feed has, vitamins and stuff that they need, so they're not going without those vitamins. Seems like it's going to be pretty hot here today. We've had a lot of humidity, so that's why I was trimming up the tomatoes. I hadn't had a chance to, do that, trim them up and stake them up, and I have noticed a lot of fungal diseases going on because I was lazy and and it was raining and you couldn't get out to do that sort of thing. So I've really trimmed them back. Hopefully that helps. And I do have tomatoes that are set on, but they're green. And of course, because we don't, here in New Hampshire, we don't get tomatoes starting until about August, and September is when they really start coming in, and then the frost comes. So we only really get a few weeks. So we had 40. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had, I know that a lot of people had said that they don't like those heat lamps, and I agree that they could be a fire hazard, but we did use the kit that you can buy, and we didn't have any problems with that light. I mean, I was checking on them pretty regularly, and yeah, we made it. We started off with let's see, 9, and we now have 11. So chicken math is real, even though that's not bad at all. Some people say that's not even chicken math, but when you don't really have the space, that the 1 or 2 more to the flock can definitely make a difference. Yeah, perfect. Yep. Yeah, no, it was, those lights are fine. I think that you just have to, obviously, they're more hands-on than if you got one of those electric heat plates, the brooder heat plate. I mean, those are perfect, and I would prefer to use one of those. But I didn't have one of those, and I would suggest that if somebody's uncomfortable using, a heat lamp of sort, that those are definitely the way to go, because they're definitely a lot less worry and a lot, more, you don't have to be so hands-on with the chickens. But I didn't mind having to be around them and watch them. Oh, see you later, Annabelle. Yeah, so I'm not sure what else you guys want to talk about, because I'm not doing too much, and with the heat coming in, I'm probably going to have to head off here pretty soon too, because I got to go, you know, tend those tomatoes. But I definitely want to thank you guys for joining me and subscribing. And I'll try this again because this was a lot of fun, and I like meeting new people. I know that you guys are totally new to my channel, so I don't recognize your names at all. So I'm going to take a, you know, sign off here, and I'm going to go tend to my tomatoes, but I'll definitely see you in a few days. So thanks for joining me, and let's grow together. I love you too, Dee Dee. Thank you so much. All right, somebody help me sign off here. I don't know how to do it.